Michigan, we're already seeing jobs exit the state. We look at the last state where there's really data available in Oklahoma that went so-called right to work in 2001. Manufacturing plummeted. Over 200 firms left the state of Oklahoma since right to work, so-called right to work, was put in place then and now. You look at the states that have unemployment and underemployment. So-called right to work states are the majority of the top 10 states that have higher unemployment. So this idea that business is going to flock to a so-called right to work state just isn't so.
But at the same time, Mr. Regola referred to this as an extreme position. If Ohio were to adopt this, that would make half the states in the union right to work. So how can you say it's extreme if half the country, at least from a
from a historic perspective, I don't mean to trivialize your question because it's legitimate, but from a historical perspective, all of Germany went extreme in 1933. Extremism as a majority notion does not necessarily pass the test of good government, good policy, sound democracy. So, you can have everybody agreeing that we ought to do away with something, and if it's an extreme position, that doesn't make it wise, right? I think we're going to make that argument, and we're going to continue to talk about what Tim mentioned and what I mentioned in my opening comment, which is if you want to see which states are generally poor, unhealthy, undereducated, underfed, then go to the right to work states. And we don't want Ohio workers added to the long list of desperate people in this country struggling to get by. We think that we have what we need in this state to make things work. Governor Kasich can't brag about building an economic recovery in this state, which is currently where workers currently have the right to unionize, and then have his own party turn around and say that in order to get an economic recovery going, we need to create a right to work environment. I mean, the two don't jive. So as far as we're concerned, extreme ideas adopted by majorities are not necessarily a great thing.
And Ohioans said in 2011, they said this attack on workers was extreme. So there's recent history to suggest that Ohioans believe that this is extreme as well.
Mr. Gold, did you mean to compare